Baseball contracts are weird. Part of the reason why is owners love to defer money, meaning players will be getting paid after their contract is up rather than paying a big lump sum up front. And pretty much every single one of your favorite teams does this. So in today's video, I want to go through the biggest retired players that are still getting paid by your favorite teams in the 2024 season. Shout out Bobby Bonilla. He's the king of the deferred contract. Every single year on July 1st, the Mets pay him big money. And without him, this might not be as popular in the sport as it is today. So of course, we have to get this retired player getting paid video still in 2024 with the king himself, Bobby Bo. Of course, we're starting off today's video with the GOAT, Bobby Bonilla. He literally changed the game when it came to deferred contracts. Bobby Bonilla does not just get nearly $1.2 million from the Mets every year until 2035. He also is receiving $500,000 a year until 2029 from the Baltimore Orioles. Who was this guy's agent? He's the GOAT. This, of course, happened because the Mets agreed to buy out the remaining $5.9 million on Bobby Bonilla's contract in 2000 after it just never really worked out. And instead of paying him the $5.9 million at the time, the Mets agreed to make annual payments of $1.2 million for the next 25 years starting in 2011. The Wilpons with another masterclass in how to not make any money. But a lot of people don't know that he also did a similar buyout with the Baltimore Orioles. Part of the reason apparently why is that Bobby Bonilla might have a gambling problem, and his wife was insistent that they get paid out over time rather than in one lump sum so that Bobby Bonilla does not blow the money. What's actually funny is Bobby Bonilla was a pretty good player, and despite being one of the more hated Mets ever, he had a slash line with them of 270 average, 356 on base, 495 slugging, and 851 OPS for an OPS plus at 128. Same thing with the Orioles. He hit 300 with a 371 on base, 506 slugging, and an 877 OPS for an OPS plus at 121. Bobby Bonilla was low-key a really good player that nobody wanted to deal with or put up with, and now he's making bank every single year until he turns 72. Not bad for Bobby Bo. Next up is someone that really did nothing wrong. Dustin Pedroia is still getting paid by the Boston Red Sox and will until 2028. Yes, Pedroia, just from getting injured and having setback after setback, the Red Sox are still obligated to pay him even though he's no longer an active player. He'll be receiving $2 million for the next 4 years. And this one really sucks because Dustin Pedroia was one of my favorite players growing up. A smaller guy like me, he's 5'9". We're actually the exact same size, 5'9", 170. And he won an MVP. He won Rookie of the Year. 2-time World Series champion, Gold Glove Award winner, All-Star. He was a phenomenal player. And from 2008 to 2013, it was hard to find a better second baseman in the game with a 303 average, 371 on base, 459 slugging, and an 830 OPS for an OPS plus at 119. He was averaging 15 homers, 40 doubles, 70 RBIs, and 20 stolen bases a year, walking more than he struck out, playing good defense. Petey was a stud. He was a big reason for those amazing Red Sox World Series runs. But again, unfortunately, the contract's getting deferred and he's still getting paid despite being retired because of the injuries. I actually had no idea this next player was still getting paid by the Yankees. That's Josh Donaldson. Now, his is a little bit different as well. The Yankees, of course, acquired Josh Donaldson in a big offseason trade going into the 2022 season. There were big hopes for Donaldson. He never really lived up to any of those. In the 2 seasons he had with the Yankees, he was pretty terrible, so instead of bringing him back, they decided to buy out his contract when they released him, and that buyout ended up being $8 million, 6 of which got paid to Josh Donaldson in 2024. So yes, retired Josh Donaldson, still technically on the payroll for the New York Yankees this season. I remember at the time thinking that Josh Donaldson move was going to be great. He had just come off a really good season in Minnesota, 26 homers, 26 doubles, 72 RBIs with an 827 OPS and an OPS plus at 127. I thought moving to the big city, out to the Bronx would do him wonders, but Donaldson was pretty mediocre with the Yankees, posting a 207 average with a 293 on base, 385 slugging, and an OPS under 700 for an OPS plus at 90. It is basically the worst he's ever played outside of the 17-game stretch he had with the Brewers in 2023. Kind of wild to think that the Yankees actually are paying this guy this year to physically not play on the team. They're like, yeah, $6 million, please don't come back. Which is a shame because the bringer of rain really was a stud. I mean, the guy won an MVP in Toronto. He was amazing. All right, everybody knows about this next guy, Chris Davis. I talked about Bobby Bonilla having one of the greatest agents ever. Chris Davis is going to give him a run for his money. After some really good years with the Orioles and a monster 2015, they rewarded Chris Davis by giving him one of the biggest contracts ever, a 7-year, $161 million contract. And to be fair, it made sense. Chris Davis was coming off a season where he finished 14th in MVP voting, hit 47 home runs, a 923 OPS, a few seasons seasons before that, he hit 53 homers with 138 RBIs. He was one of the best perennial power hitters in the game. The problem was that Chris Davis's skill set aged like milk, along with the fact that they ended up changing the MLB policy in terms of medication, and he wasn't allowed to use a prescription that helped with his ADHD. That, along with deteriorating skill set, Chris Davis became quickly one of the biggest jokes in Major League Baseball, and he put together one of the worst stretches in Major League Baseball history, including the longest hitless streak ever. After the 2020 COVID season, Chris Davis and the Orioles decided to part ways, and that's where the deferred contract comes in. So through the 2025 season, Chris Davis will be paid $9.166 million a year. From then on, he will be paid $3.5 million a year until 2032. And then from 2033 to 2037, he gets $1.4 million a year from the Orioles. They will be paying this guy for the next 13 years, again, to not play for them. Feel bad for Chris Davis. It really wasn't his fault. He was a great player, fell off quickly, but man, that is one of the worst contracts ever given out. The Washington Nationals known for giving out deferred contracts, but this next player I had no clue about, Rafael Sorano. Remember him? Soriano was a one-time All-Star dominant closer of the mid-2010s, and while his stint with the Washington Nationals was short, he ended up getting his money, because Rafael Sorano has been getting paid $2 million by the Nationals as a part of his contract, and it ends this season. So yeah, the Nationals are still paying for Rafael Sorano 10 years after he last threw a pitch for them. Overall in his career, Soriano will probably be a forgotten reliever because just like many of the guys in the 2000s, he was a saves dude, 200 saves in his career, a 2.89 ERA, a whip at 1.078. I'll remember him the most for after getting a save, he would just rip his jersey off and untuck it from his shirt. Used to get the old heads furious. Soriano was a solid reliever. Again, great contract and job by his agent. $2 million a year till 2024. That's a deal every single time. Next up, we have Zack Greinke, who is actually still getting paid a ton of money by the Houston Astros. Of course, he signed that massive deal with the Diamondbacks, got traded to the Astros. They inherit that, and they're now on the hook for $12.5 million every single season until 2028 to Zack Greinke. And you know what? I'm happy for Zack Greinke. One of the great underappreciated pitchers of the game, future Hall of Famer for sure. Won a Cy Young Award, 6-time All-Star, 6-time Gold Glover. He was also a phenomenal hitter, won 2 Silver Slugger awards, and had the lowest ERA in baseball twice. Greinke was underappreciated because he wasn't a big personality. As social media became more and more popular, you got more insight into what is one of the most interesting players to ever play the game. He had crippling anxiety, didn't love to be in the spotlight, but when this guy stepped on the mound, he was an absolute dog, and finished his career with over 220 wins, a 3.49 ERA, a whip at 1.171, and nearly 3,000 strikeouts. Phenomenal career, and he's getting paid $12.5 million for the next 4 seasons. What a beast. This next player's son is maybe the best prospect in baseball right now, Jackson Holliday. Yes, Matt Holliday is still getting paid and will continue to get paid by the St. Louis Cardinals $1.5 million through the 2029 season. So not only is his son getting paid by a major league team, and his other son will soon be getting paid, Ethan, who's another stud. Matt himself is still getting paid by the St. Louis Cardinals. Fun little story about Matt Holliday. One of the first autographs I ever got at a baseball game, he was a rookie with the Colorado Rockies. I was sitting behind the Rockies dugout at Chase Stadium. Being a big baseball fan, I immediately wanted to get Matt Holliday, asked for his autograph, signed instantly, one of the nicest guys I ever met, and he is truly the epitome of Hall of Very Good. A guy who accumulated 44.5 WAR throughout his career, 316 home runs, over 1,200 RBIs, a slash line of 299, 379, 510, and 889 for his career is pretty disgusting, with an OPS plus at 132. Little bit of a man without a position as he got older, really wasn't great out there defensively, but at the plate, always mashed. Was a 7-time All-Star, won a World Series, 4-time Silver Slugger, batting title champion, NLCS MVP. The list goes on, and his sons might be even better. Extremely talented family, and extremely rich, and getting richer. $1.5 million until 2029, every single year. Let's bring it back to the Boston Red Sox. Another great Red Sox who is retired, that's still getting paid. That's going to be Manny Ramirez, who's getting paid just over $2 million every year until the 2026 season. How could you not love Manny? I know there was the steroid thing, and he was a bit of a goof, but in terms of iconic players, some of the greatest players I ever got to watch, or maybe even you got to ever watch, Manny Ramirez is towards the top of that list. He was a 12-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champion, 9-time Silver Slugger Award winner, won a World Series MVP and a batting title, finished his career with 555 home runs, over 1,800 RBIs, a 312 average, 411 on base, 585 slugging, and a 996 OPS for an OPS plus at 154. I truly don't think we talk about how good Manny Ramirez was because you had other greats like Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa that just outshined him. But from 1998 until 2005, Manny averaged 142 games a year, 41 homers, 35 doubles, 130 RBIs with a 1039 OPS. That's literally disgusting. He was one of the best hitters I've ever watched play, one of the most charismatic players to ever play the game, and if he were playing in this generation, he'd be an instant favorite among social media and fans. So happy to see Manny still getting paid a couple $1 million every year for the next few years. One of the most talented hitters I've ever seen play. Speaking of one of the most talented hitters, or more so players that I've ever seen play, Ken Griffey Jr. still getting paid by the Cincinnati Reds, technically one of the highest paid players on that entire roster. This is the last year that Ken Griffey Jr. is getting money from his deferred contract. That being said, he's being paid $3.59 million this year to not step foot on the field at 54 years of age. And again, similar to Pedroia, it kind of sucked because Griffey just was decimated by injuries as soon as he stepped into the clubhouse in Cincinnati. From 1993 to 2000, Ken Griffey Jr. had an unbelievable run, 138 games a year, 44 homers, 116 RBIs, a 294 average, 387 on base, 606 slugging with a 993 OPS. Oh yeah, and he was incredible out in center field defensively, maybe one of the best center fielders we've ever seen. Hall of Famer, MVP, 13-time All-Star, 10-time Gold Glove Award winner, 7-time Silver Slugger. Ken Griffey Jr. literally was built different. So even though it's weird that a 54-year-old retired Ken Griffey Jr. is one of the highest paid players on that Reds roster, I think it's fair for a dude who kind of got screwed because the injury bug bit him. He is truly one of the best players of all time. I mean, 630 home runs, 83 WAR, he's crazy. For the penultimate player, that means second to last in today's video, we got to talk about Miggy, who's getting paid $8 million by the Detroit Tigers this season because they declined his contract for the 2024 year. Miggy, of course, retired, but you still have to decline the contract because technically he still could have came back. But because they declined it, they actually didn't have to pay him as much money as they could have, and he still gets $8 million rather than zero. Miggy, another one of the all-time greats. I actually can't believe how many great hitters there were during the peak years of me watching baseball as a kid. Miguel Cabrera being one of them. 21-year career starting in 2003, ending last season. 511 home runs, almost 1,900 RBIs, a 306 average with a 382 on base, 518 slugging, and a 901 OPS for an OPS plus at 140, and honestly, would have been even higher if he didn't stick around all these years. From 2004 to 2016, Miguel Cabrera, this is a 13-year stretch, by the way, averaged 33 homers, 39 doubles, 115 RBIs, with a 323 average, 402 on base, 566 slugging, and a 968 OPS for an OPS plus at 157. Two-time MVP award winner, 12-time All-Star, won the Triple Crown, World Series champion, Silver Sluggers, 4-time batting title champion. Miggy's one of the most talented hitters to ever play this game, and he is going to be a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. Last but certainly not least, maybe not the most liked player in today's video, Ryan Braun of the Milwaukee Brewers is still getting paid $1.8 million a year through the 2031 season. Now, of course, Ryan Braun not liked because he failed a steroid test and then blamed the guy who took it and said he tainted it, but it turns out he didn't really. It was just a loophole. Kind of was just a jerk. But looking back on Ryan Braun's career, wow, was he a just ridiculously good player. From age 23 to 28, a 6-year stretch, Ryan Braun averaged 34 homers, 37 doubles, and 107 RBIs a year, a 313 average, 374 on base, 568 slugging, and a 943 OPS for an OPS plus at 147. He, of course, won the MVP award back in 2011 with a disgustingly good year, won the Rookie of the Year in 2007, 6-time All-Star, 5-time Silver Slugger, finished his 14-year Major League career with 352 home runs, 400 doubles, 1,100 RBIs, 200 stolen bases, which that's pretty impressive. He's a part of the 200-200 club, a career slash line of 296, 358, 532, and 891 for an OPS plus at 134. Again, not really well liked, maybe a bit of a jerk, but he was a super good player, and the Brewers will be paying him $1.8 million until 2031, which is crazy, and the point of today's video. So there they are, the biggest names of retired players who are still getting paid despite not playing baseball for your favorite team anymore. I hope you guys did enjoy it. A little bit different of a video, not necessarily stats and rankings based, more like baseball history and baseball fun stories. If you did enjoy it, drop a like. It really does help show support on this channel, as well as let me know you like these kind of videos. And don't forget to subscribe as well if you have not yet done so. Follow me on all my social media, GiraffeNeckMarc. Links are in the description, and that's where I'll wrap it up. You guys know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is my most recent upload, so click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.